It's the most cliche thing ever to say after a game like this, but truly a tale of two halves in Greenville, South Carolina, as the Cincinnati Bearcats fall 68-65. Final score, you're thinking, all right, Cats gave some effort. Cats gave them a fight, and they did, and we're proud of the second half effort. What's crazy, though, down 27 points in the first half. Most of these people would have said, fan base, halftime, don't let Wes Miller get back on the plane. And come second half, you're thinking, they may have turned this thing around. Unfortunately, maybe a little too late. We're going to discuss all that today on Chatterbox Bearcats as the Cats fall to 7-5. I'm Chuck Walter. Houdini joins me. Let's start off with an opening thought, Hudson. Day Thomas with an unbelievable second half. Mustafa Cham looked like the Mustafa Cham we thought we were going to get in the second half. But what the hell happened in the first half, and how can a basketball team come into a game that unprepared?
I mean, it was 38-11 at one point in time. It was truly mind-boggling. I'm like, holy hell, this is the lowest the UC basketball program has ever been. I think I witnessed the worst 10 minutes of basketball that I've ever seen at any level. It was just an atrocity, everything. They couldn't get the ball within the three-point line. And all we did was chuck threes. We're one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country, and that's all we did. And our defense looked terrible. Everything was horrible. And I'm going to zag slightly, though, because Wes Miller, like if you would have talked, like you mentioned it at halftime, I'm like, don't let him back on the bus. He actually made some adjustments. Now, we could debate if these adjustments needed to be made way sooner. He left the starting lineup in for like 10 minutes. I'm like, these guys stink out there. Make some damn subs. In the second half, he mucked it up, went with a full court press. At least, I think the Wes Miller tenure is probably over regardless. But at least we're going to see a team that fights, because I thought they were going to quit coming out of halftime. They certainly did not, man. Like, they did the full court press. I think that's clearly the recipe for this team, is to muck the game up. We cannot sit in a half-court offense. So I will give a little credit to Wes for actually making some damn adjustments and tightening that bench up and putting Jizzle James and Kirk Kesa didn't really see the floor after the first half. So that's it. You still needed to win the game.
I was as irate. I mean, we're in a group chat together. How sensical was I being during that first half?
I mean, you said some things I don't think I could say on air. I mean,
don't say Lily
on air. Lily actually said, "Do not state that anywhere but this group chat." Or
let's protect my integrity for the sake of the show. But even on Twitter, I tagged Wes Miller and I said, "Let's give you the exact quote here." It was actually a bar, and I'm getting blown up on Twitter right now. I sent out a second tweet and said, "Credit to Wes Miller for the turnaround," and someone said, "Zero credit to Wes Miller ever." But my tweet was, if Coach Wes Miller has any integrity, he will step down at the podium post-game and turn down his $7 million buyout. An absolute mockery that this man is going to be paid what millions of Americans would die for due to being the worst coach in college basketball. And I tagged him, and he's on Twitter every once in a while, so he's going to read that. And honestly, I'm proud of the way the dudes fought in the second half. Like, they looked good. Defensive intensity was awesome. But again, the moral of the story is you lost. Doesn't matter how you lose, you lost. And the beginning of the game was an abomination. It's embarrassing, but I mean, from a team that I thought in the first half was going to go legit 0-18 in the Big 12, maybe this team has a little bit of fight in them. But the non-conference slate, it was terrible, man. You beat Dayton. You lost to everyone else. You're a quad 3 team currently. You're net ranked in the low hundreds, I believe it is. And the most frustrating thing of all this, in the first preseason game, I guess it wasn't even, first exhibition game, Sean Abayev looked like a legit lottery pick. We had scouting services tabbing him 12th overall to the Oklahoma City Thunder. He looks like he can't even play.
Yeah, the Sean Abayev, Wes Miller putting a lot of eggs in the Sean Abayev basket. And you saw it. He pulled him, finally. Like, Wes Miller knows he's on the chopping block. He's going to start playing the guys that he thinks can win games. Sean Abayev looked awful. I mean, just truly bad turning the ball over, just stupid ass shot selection. We've seen that all year. But if you're shooting the ball under 20% from three and you're taking those shots, that's a huge problem. That's called a losing player. And this is not to just rag on him. He's got a lot of talent. He's clearly not ready. He's nowhere close to NBA ready. And I think you're going to see the recipe for this team is to significantly shorten that bench and play guys like Day Thomas, do the old Coach K, the old John Shire, play guys damn near 40 minutes if you're going to have a chance. Because we saw kind of our best lineup. You throw Sincere Harris in there and Jizzle James with Mustafa, Baba, and Day. That's clearly our best five. There's really no argument there. And it's unfortunate because I thought if anything, Sean Abayev would hit open shots. He's done anything but that. Can't even hit open ones. So I don't really know what you do. He's still going to get his chances on this team. Like I said, there's not a lot of depth really on the squad. So he's going to have to get minutes. But you're going to have to significantly shorten those minutes moving forward if you want to win any games in the Big 12.
The first possession of the game was really telling for how this one was going to go. It was about 7 passes around the perimeter for 30 seconds of the shot clock before Kirk Kesa fires up a 28-foot air ball from 3. Next possession, Baba Miller misses a 3. Then Sean Abayev misses a step-back 3. Then UC turns it over. It's 14-0, like 4 minutes into the game. I just don't know how the game plan can be so sloppy when you have weeks to prepare for this game. I mean, Georgia was, a week ago? Yeah. Alabama State, you don't really need to scout Alabama State. This coaching staff, the 9 dudes on the bench in matching sweater vests, had a week to prepare for this game, and they come out with that sort of effort and that sort of lack of game plan and scout, and it didn't make any sense truly. And the hope is that in the second half, these guys figured out a formula and they actually turn it around. They have a respectable season, and it's not just an embarrassment. Because first half, I was thinking, anyone watching this game on national TV, on big ESPN, has to think we're the worst team in the entire country. And we had a chance at Day Thomas 3 to tie it up late in the contest. That did not happen. Baba had 7, 15 for Chum, 17 for Thomas, 3 for Abayev, 0 from Kesa, 0 from Zella, 10 for Jizzle James, 10 for Sincere Harris, and 3 for Jalen Celestine. Kirk Kesa is an interesting case study, man, because he was great at Arizona. He was a starting point guard on a 2 seed years ago. You would assume as you get into your mid-20s, you kind of hit your peak. It's not the case with him. And what's wild, Wes Miller went after Kirk Kesa before he went to West Virginia, before he went to Kentucky, finally got his chance with Kirk Kesa, and now we sit here and say, why? Why did you go after this guy 3 times?
Good for Kirk Kesa just collecting that bag, though. Either way, it's really unfortunate, man. Like I did not think there was a world where Kirk Kesa, like I know, like maybe he's been injured quite a bit. I knew maybe like the athleticism, kind of a defensive liability to a degree, but just missing open shots again, it's just shocking and just really stupid IQ plays. Like we don't have the talent to afford these dumbass turnovers. And he was a huge culprit of a lot of those turnovers. And, I almost feel bad that Jizzle James is wasting a year of eligibility on this damn roster, but having him back to where Kirk Kesa doesn't have to play much is massive. Like if Kirk Kesa is your starting point guard, based on what we've seen so far this year, we're not winning a damn game in the Big 12. Like he has been, his plus minus has to be just so bad. He was minus 30 against Georgia, minus 30. He had to have been, he only played 9 minutes, so he's probably, minus 25 in the first half tonight or today. But yeah, it's tough. At least you got Jizzle James coming in, and Jizzle didn't have a great game by any means, but he's far and ahead better than Kirk Kesa in street clothes. It's just a fact.
It's crazy that it took Wes Miller that long to insert Jizzle into the game. It's almost like there's like a minutes restriction on Jizzle for some reason, when you're right. It's clear that like he's the better player. So why not start him? Why not incorporate him into your game plan?
He didn't sub in till the 13 minutes. I think there was 13 minutes left and we were literally down 25.
He starts this game and UC comes in with the perspective that they had in the second half, which is just, let's muck up this game. they probably win, dude. I mean, they may win by a landslide. I mean, UC looked like the better team in the second half, but they put themselves in a 27-point hole.
Yeah, it's really hard to win. Not a rocket scientist here. It's really hard to win when you are down 38-11. They won the second half by 17 points. If that game had 5 more minutes, we win that game by 10. I mean, Clemson could not figure anything out. And I don't want to get into the rest, but that goaltend they called on Mustafa Cham to make it a 4-point game was insane. They reviewed it. I mean, it was clear as day. He blocked it before it hit the backboard. Regardless, hey, Day Thomas had a shot. Like, I was like, oh, shit, maybe he's going to actually make this. We're going to go into OT here. He actually had a legitimate shot at the last second. Didn't go down, and he was hitting everything. He went on a little Steph Curry run. Mustafa Cham and Day Thomas in the second half looked unbelievable. Truly. Like, we've been waiting for Mustafa. That's another positive. If there's any positives in a team that's 7-5 and clearly a sinking ship, is that Mustafa Cham just showed the hell up in the second half. Like, that was pretty impressive. I did not see that coming.
Crazy thing is, for as bad a loss Eastern Michigan is, and for as bad a non-conference as UC had with the lone marquee win being a home one over Dayton, they're going to have plenty of chances coming up. They got Lipscomb. That'll close out the non-con. Then it's Houston. They'll have Iowa State. They'll have the number 1 team in the country, Arizona. They'll have Houston again. They'll have Texas Tech. They got Kansas. We're talking 6 ranked opponents, BYU 7. I mean, they're not going to do it. But if you win 4 or 5 of those 7 games, the non-con doesn't matter. You're going to get in. We know this. You pick up 5, 6, 7 quad 1 wins, you're going to get in. The question is, did Wes Miller actually figure out some sort of a formula in the second half that is sustainable and this team can actually win some games? Or is it going to be more of the same and this team goes 2-16 in the Big 12? I have no idea. How good is Clemson? Well, I have no idea, but I'm trying to stay optimistic while realizing that this thing's definitely over and we got to talk about this team for 3 more months.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you mentioned all those, huge quad 1 opportunities. Back of my mind, I'm like, those are
this ain't like East Carolina, Tulane, Temple. We got opportunities, man.
No, we do, and it's also opportunities to totally embarrass ourselves. No, do I think we're gonna go beat Houston? Yeah, right. We couldn't even do that in the American. We're sure as hell not doing it with this team. But there are opportunities. It's the nice thing about being in the Big 12, even though our tenure in the Big 12 has been some of the saddest shit that you will ever see if you're a UC fan. You do have opportunities to dig out of a hole that we put ourselves in. Will they do it? I do think that they did figure something out. I would be shocked. Maybe I wouldn't be shocked. Wes Miller shocks me every day with some of the moves that he makes. They got to be going full court press in every damn game that they're in. From here on out, they cannot sit in the half-court offense. We saw it in the first half. I thought they might not even get to 25 points in the game. I mean, just pass it around the perimeter, and we can't shoot threes. So maybe they did figure something out. Full court pressure, the on-ball defense of Sincere Harris and Day Thomas, man. I mean, those guys were in hell. The guards were trying to get the ball up the court. It is impressive. It's almost impressive that we're 7-5 and lost to Eastern Michigan with both those guys. How does that even happen? But yeah, we'll see, man. But there's opportunities. But yeah, it's probably a dead season at this point. You beat Dayton when they shot 4% from 3. Not sure how good of a win that is. Is Clemson and Georgia really that good? I bet they're kind of hovering around the bubble when March comes around, to be quite honest. But hey, second half was good. We'll take it.
Honey, go Mushies.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Yeah, that happened. They beat Georgetown and we lost. But I was gonna say the outlook kind of changed on how I was gonna talk about this game. I was gonna come in with a ton of passion, fire everybody. I wanted to stage the first ever walkout at Fifth Third Arena, where during the pregame introductions against Houston, the place is packed. They cheer for every single player. And then once they get to Wes Miller, you just boo as you walk out the door. And the place is empty except for family and friends. I think it'd be electric. It'd be very hard to coordinate. It would end up being 10 dudes walking out and, hey, let's go to Martino's. By the way, this show is brought to you by Martino's. Get some pizza, get some stromboli, drown your sorrows with very cold beer. It's where we have our post-game shows. It's electric, and we will have one here soon. What game on the slate excites us the most? It's not about which game excites us the most. It's about which one we can potentially win. So maybe like Colorado, or we'll find a game where we could potentially talk about a W, because the L shows there are not nearly as fun. That's really all I got, Houdini. I love ripping at 45 an hour with you on this program, but today is not one of those days on a Sunday where I really want to go more than 20 minutes. Final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I had notes on here in that first half that was just going to rip into everything of this university, Wes Miller. And it would have been much better content probably to watch. But I do have to give a little credit to Wes Miller. Like, they fought back. Like, I cannot believe that guys in the locker room listen to anything that Wes Miller said when they're down, 30 points. And they came out and fought their asses off. Like, I had all these like analogies written. I'm like, we gave a 15-year-old without his license the keys to a Maserati. And obviously this is where we ended up. But hey, they showed some fight. Is this team good? Probably not. Are they going to make the tournament? Probably not. Is this Wes Miller's final year? Probably. But hey, I'm going to keep rooting for him. I'm not going to be booing Wes Miller. I know if the fans want to do it, that's their own prerogative. But I think the team can be feisty if they play like they did in the second half, because they looked awesome in the second half. A little, it was too late. Too late. You can't put yourself in a 27-point hole and try to win a basketball game. Not really a great recipe.
Beat Lipscomb, you're 8-5, and then you got to have a heck of a season in the Big 12 just to avoid being a sub 500 team. UC has not been a program that has had many sub 500 teams. The last time we had one, you got to go back to the early Mick Cronin years. Even John
we
Brannan's
got the worst
team was
record. We got the worst record in the Big 12. Just so you know, out of 16 teams, folks, we have the worst record at 7-5. So that's always good too, to head out of the non-con with the worst record in the Big 12, and you didn't really have that tough of a slate.
Brighter days ahead. Subscribe to the show. Hit that thumbs up on the way out. Leave your comments on the state of the program. We'll see you after Lipscomb. Houdini, go ahead and take us home by hitting that end stream. See you, everyone.
All right, peace. Thanks for joining.